Are you tired of making the same mistakes every draft and setting yourself up for failure before the season even begins? We're going to take a look at that today. What's up, guys? It is August, and that means that the season is just around the corner. It is time to do all your draft preparations and get ready for this upcoming season. Today, we're here to help you maybe avoid some mistakes that are commonly made in every single draft. Now, before we get started, what mistakes have you made in your drafts? I know I've made plenty as far as drafting guys that have probably been hurts. Forgetting that I didn't draft a position, especially with those onesie positions, you kind of tend to punt those, maybe wait till later and not realize that, hey, I forgot to grab one here. I got to grab one here in the late rounds. But we're here to go over every little mistake that people tend to make and maybe prevent you from making those in this year's draft. Because we know, listen, you can't win the season at the draft, but you can certainly lose the season in the draft. And the first common mistake is people don't know their leagues. It's so common. I will talk to people and ask them, hey, what is your league structure and what's the scoring like? Most people don't even know. You got to get into your season, into your draft, knowing what is priority for you. What do the bonuses pay? How many points does the quarterback get for a touchdown pass? So many of these questions people don't know, and they don't draft according to the league. So first thing, know your league. Get in there, see the scoring, see what bonuses are set up, and adjust your draft and all your tiers to that scoring system. Next thing, don't draft any trade bait, guys. It never works. You think, all right, I'll get this guy because people will want him. Don't draft for that. Draft for your team. Don't draft because you think somebody might value that person. Put together the best team you believe on paper and move forward with that. Bye weeks. Now, I know a lot of guys do this and they're happy with it. I personally think drafting according to bye weeks is a mistake. If you have multiple guys with week 8 bye weeks, what does it matter? You have 2 months to prepare for that. And we all know your team is not going to look like it did when you drafted it. You're going to make moves. You're going to make pickups. Things are going to change. Don't worry about your bye weeks going into the season because your roster will ultimately change. Homer picks. Listen, we're all guilty of them from time to time, especially when I started playing fantasy football. I wanted to draft plenty of 49ers because I am a Niners fan, and it never works out. Drafting too many players from any team never helps you. You don't want to draft the quarterback, the running back, the receiver, and the tight end all from the same team. It's not going to work. Don't be a homer. Stay away from it. Set up your draft beforehand and make sure your list is clear and concise. That way you can draft according to your system. Avoid the ADP obsession. Too many guys will get caught up on what that ADP structure has at the bottom of your platform. Do not fall into that. Draft according to what you've researched, what you feel is the best thing. Do not look at somebody's name pop in going, ooh, the ADP is really good. He's really value right here. People's ADPs are different. Don't go just off your platform's ADP. That's simply what everybody's been choosing, man. Not according to what you may want to have them. Okay? FOMO picks. FOMO picks going hand in hand with all that. People go on a run of quarterbacks, and all of a sudden you're like, I got to draft one. Oh my gosh, everybody's going to be gone by the time I get there. Don't worry about drafting your position. Play your system. Draft your guys in whichever way you want. Now, yes, you may have to pivot here and there when your tier system kind of gets going. Or maybe your list of guys that you really want gets to the bottom. And that's where maybe you'll pivot for a rack. But don't fall into, hey, I need to draft somebody here now and make the move that you shouldn't make. Be flexible, guys. You got to be flexible in the draft. People are going to throw curveballs at you. There's always the one guy who wants to draft the guy that nobody thinks of, and they're scared they might miss out on that home run pick at the end of the draft. So they go 3-4 rounds earlier than they should, and it throws everyone for a loop. Be flexible. Make sure you have your game plan set, and then you can adjust accordingly. And what are some of those things that you can use to maybe help you get set up for your draft? Well, as I mentioned before, I like a tier system. I will put all my players into a sort of tier system where they're marked tier 1, 2, 3, and so forth for each position. Now, if guys have gone quick on running backs or wide receivers and you're in that tier 3 position, but you have tier 1 players at the wide receiver spot, I'm probably going to go to my tier 1 because I know those guys are more valuable, and I'm not going to FOMO pick and just go, oh, I got to grab a running back here. I will adjust and I will make my moves later on, but I will draft my tier system. Always good advice to have that set up. I think that's the best way to draft, and I think it's the most efficient. Before you get into your draft, look up the strength of schedule for some of these players. Some of these guys may have a rough go at it in the beginning of the season, and you may give up on them. Look at Dak Prescott, for example, last year. His strength of schedule was on the back. Everybody knew that if you did your research, you knew that that second half of that season, he was due to blow up because his matchups were favorable. Make sure you look at your strength of schedule for all the players you want to draft, so that way you're not going, man, he's really not doing anything. Well, you got to give it time, and the way you drafted it set up that he was going to have a difficult part of the season. Always know your team, know their strength of schedules. That way you're well informed. Guys, one easy one. Make sure you know what the injury list looks like. So we've all made the mistake. I'm guilty of it. Go into your draft knowing who's hurt, who's out, and how long the injury is going to be. And make sure you pick up on those nagging injuries. Next thing, be patient in your draft, guys. Be patient. Your guys will fall to you. Let the draft come to you. Don't be worried about things you can't control. Don't stress your outfit over this draft. Make sure you have a good system and a good plan in place, and you're going to be just fine. Have a set plan for injuries. Make sure you know, okay, I've got enough bench guys that cover injuries just in case, especially with that injury list. Guys get injured every year. There's injury-prone guys. Make sure you're drafting according to that. And of course, go in there and make sure you know what your team wants. You want your team to look like. You have a good plan on what you really like and where you think you might go and draft balls a certain way. Biggest thing to help you with that is know your league mates, guys. Your league mates will define it. If you played in the league long enough, your league mates all have tendencies. You know who the homer guy is. You know who the guy who loves to reach for those wild cards early in the draft to throw everybody off. You know who's going to want to start those early quarterback runs in your draft. Know your league mates so that way you're mentally prepared and you know where to go with your draft going forward. Just simply don't overthink it, guys. Have fun. Enjoy the draft. It's meant to be a good time, especially if you do the live drafts. I'm still a believer in the live drafts. I think that the more fun of the options. And yes, I know everybody's schedule doesn't fit in and everybody's got lives. But when you are able to have that one set day to sit down with your league mates and do a draft, I think it's real fun. Now, the big thing about that, and the biggest mistake people make, stay sober, you lush. Nobody likes drafting when it's drunk. Come on, guys. Sit there and know what you're drafting. I know I've made this mistake before, and I've walked away from a draft going, what did my team look like? So make sure you stay sober. Don't overdo it. Drink accordingly. Have plenty of water, guys. Well, guys, I hope this helps out. I hope this gives you a mindset, what you can prepare for going forth in this draft. Remember, make sure you pay attention to your league and know what the scoring structure is. Don't fall in that ADP pitfall. And most importantly, don't FOMO pick just because you think you're going to miss out on some guys. Again, guys, please let me know what mistakes you commonly make in the draft or the funniest ones you've seen. And let everybody share those. Share those in the comments and let everybody know. I'd love to see them. I'd love to see what people have done. And make sure you please like, subscribe, join us for the rest of the season. We're going to be here every week trying to help you with your fantasy football team and help you dominate your league. And if you don't have time to just watch a video, please, we have a podcast, our audio-only podcast, available wherever you get your podcast. Listen to us in your car, and I'm really looking forward to it. All right, guys, I will see you in the next one.